Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Contest of Champions. This is Alliance Quest Day 1, Section 2 of Map 6. Continuing on the series from yesterday. Now, one of the big things I want to start off here by saying, because in the very first fight you're going to notice this happens right off the bat. I've never claimed to be the best player in this game, as you can quite literally tell from this fight. I do make a lot of mistakes, but I don't think there's a lot of people out there who really showcase the fact that they make mistakes. I think most people want to just show how good they play the game, and I think a lot of times they'll take as many fights as they possibly can or not show you guys exactly how many units that they actually use for this kind of stuff. But I'm going to show the downfalls to things too, like not playing well, and that's exactly what's going to happen in this fight here, is that I do not play well, and I end up actually losing Hyperion to Rhino, causing me to lose my first champion and not the last either as far as Section 2 goes. I'm actually going to have to use a revive and a team health potion at a certain point once things get going here. But this is just typical how to play horribly against Rhino, and it's really sad to me, and I was really kind of ticked off whenever the fight ended, because I know how to fight Rhino, and we'll see that in this next fight. I know exactly how to fight Rhino. I never really have an issue with him, so it really kind of bummed me out, the fact that, you know, I couldn't take him down. The big thing with Rhino, especially with this one, considering the fact we still can stun. This is a stun immune path on quite a few characters, or champions rather, but Rhino's still stunnable, so he's very easy to fight as long as you can bait out his L1 or his L2 and come in for the attack afterwards. And a lot of people have trouble with the unblockable. I got really lucky in this fight a lot of times where he would come at me and it wouldn't be unblockable. It would just, you know, we just had the unstoppable on it, so he didn't quite break through us. But as you can see, we don't have any trouble evading everything. But the big key thing here is you want to keep Rhino as close to you as you possibly can. And I still make a few little mistakes. Even playing better than I did before, I still make a few little mistakes, like with the heavy attack that just happened a second ago. That was an open opportunity to actually go in and do a little bit of damage, and I just completely missed the window on that one. But if you keep Rhino at close quarters, he's much easier to fight, because you don't have to worry about that unblockable or the unstoppable catching you. Now we're going to move on into the next fight here, which is against Daredevil. And Daredevil is a character that is a lot easier to fight. We don't have to worry too much about any of the issues that we had with Rhino with going up against Daredevil. Although I do believe this is the first fight in the sequence. I didn't really catch a look at the nodes there, but I believe this is the first fight in this sequence of fights that are about to come, where the champion is immunity. He has it's like an immunity to all debuffs, and this isn't. Okay, so we did get it stun off. So I guess it starts with either Vision or Kamala Khan on this path. I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but those are the ones that always kind of give me the most trouble, are the immunity champions. And we got really lucky there, taking that L1 and not getting stunned, which I have the perks in my skill tree, or whatever. I can't think of what it's called right now. It's too early in the morning. That we reduce the stun that we get from doing this kind of stuff. But you really don't want to take any kind of special attacks if you can avoid it. And it was really kind of dumb of me to be able to be hit by that Daredevil L1, because Daredevil's special 1 and his special 2 are just way too easy to avoid as it is anyway. So like I said, no trouble taking down Daredevil. We did lose quite a significant amount of health. Yeah, see here we got the immunity champion, which is the first one that's going to give me a lot of trouble. I love parry. Parry is something that I've come to rely on way too heavily in this game, and I need to really work on being able to evade the move sets and things of that nature a little bit more. I don't have too much trouble, you know, getting out of his special attacks because, as most of you know, his L1 does literally no damage whatsoever when you're blocking. So I don't have any issue with that. It's just that immunity, trying to find the opening that you need to actually get in and be able to do the damage on Vision that becomes the problem. So we're having a little bit of trouble here, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I know there's not a lot of people out there that's going to show videos of themselves failing, but it's part of the game. It's part of how things work, and I know I'll probably catch a lot of crap in the comment section about how awful I play. But number one, nobody plays perfect. Nobody plays perfect. That's a huge key thing to this game, and I think it kind of humbles us when we see other people that are doing these kind of things and putting ourselves on the spotlight, that we make mistakes too. We're not all perfect. It may take us like 15 or 16 tries to get that perfect shot, but sometimes we fail miserably a lot of times in the process of doing that. And see, we lost Black Widow, so now we have to go back in with Vision as our last champion. And like I said, this is not going to be the last time that we die. I do end up having to use a revive in this path, but not on this fight. We are going to end up taking out Vision with, or OG Vision with our Age of Ultron Vision. Still lose a little bit of health because we're taking damage, because we're not being able to evade out of those moves as properly as we should be. And you'll notice that he's doing a lot of heavy attacks, and I'm not going in for the attack because that right there was exactly what I wanted. I'm so afraid of that synthesis that I don't want to push him any further past the L1 than I have to, because if he's well above his L1 and he gains that synthesis, then I'm pretty much screwed at that point, because he's going to go straight into an L3. So you really have to play a little bit more defensively when you're using, or when you're going up against a Vision Classic. As you can see there, if he'd have been pushed any further than what he was, that synthesis gave him two power bars for his L2, and would have procced him into his L3, and that would have been game over for my Vision Age of Ultron. But we did manage to eke through and get into the Kamala Khan fight, which is another immunity fight. So I do struggle and have issues, and this is the point where I am going to get totally wiped out on all of my champions and end up having to use a revive, a team revive, and a team energy refill for the first time in Alliance Quest Map 6 Day 1. But, you know, it happens. I noticed, I took a look at the rest of the group after everything was done, and I think there was only one person that hadn't used items on this day. So I felt a little bit better about it. I used as minimal amount of items as I possibly could, and I'll show you guys that once I have Section 3's videos mapped out and done for a video later today. And again, this is another instance where I just play terribly. You know, we just revived. This should have been the champion that could have taken things out. I was dumb. Didn't think about the fact that she was immune to all debuffs, and I screwed up and placed, tried to hit that L1 with Hyperion, and there's no incinerate stacks that are going to happen. I just thought, well, we'll go in, we'll incinerate her to death, and the fact that, you know, immune to debuffs just didn't pop into my head, and it kind of just threw me off the rest of the fight because I'd made that one mistake. Because Kamala Khan is essentially just a very easy character to go up against and fight, but you make one little mistake and then things start to get in your head, and it throws off the rest of the fight completely for you the entire duration of the rest of the time. And that's exactly what happened for me there. And then it's more downhill the rest of the way. Even though I'm able to proc the heal off of his 3 cosmic charges, I still don't still don't recover in this fight, and Kamala Khan ends up winning the fight, which is going to come up here in just a second. After I hit the L2, I'm pretty sure I get caught, and then we're going to die right about here. So there's Hyperion dead once again, and we have to go back into the fight again with Black Widow. Black Widow definitely turned out to be the MVP for me as far as Map 6 went on this day. She took out more people than anybody else, I believe. I don't think I had too much trouble, or maybe it was a little bit of a mixture between her and Vision Age of Ultron. But Hyperion definitely, I let myself down with Hyperion. He's such a great character and such a heavy hitter that this should have never happened the way it did with him. He should have been able to plow through most of these characters on these paths, and I just played terribly with him. But that one there, that's Kamala Khan down, and now we're going to move on into the next fight, which is going to be a Black Widow. So I thought, you know, she's a stun immune, but she also has the possibility of being able to steal your buffs along with that fact in this. So I almost took Age of Ultron Vision in here because of the fact that I knew he wouldn't have any buffs that popped up. I've got Julian in the room with me right now. He's right behind me on the bed. He's picked up a flashlight and he's flashing it on me, so I can't. It's hard to see the screen now. But I figured, you know, let's just go ahead and go at it. Probably the best option, even though the fact that she's going to get those precision and cruelty buffs, possibly that she can steal off of me. I would prefer just to go ahead and take in Black Widow because she's just more of a heavy hitter, and considering the fact that I knew that it was Black Widow, I didn't have to worry too much about the fact that I wasn't going to be able to evade her L1 and L2, because much like Daredevil, her L1 and L2 are just way too easy to evade, and it was just a better option because she's going to hit a lot harder than Vision Age of Ultron is. The best case scenario for Vision Age of Ultron is that you want to control the power. Black Widow is definitely more of the power hitter. As we can see here, this fight is nearly over, and then we finish it off. Just had to avoid that last L1, and now we move into a fight that I had strongly thought about not going into. Special enhanced special 1, power starts at 1, and a special bias 1. Knowing full well that this was a Civil Warrior, I knew my options were very limited at this point going into this fight. I didn't want to take Black Widow, despite the fact that I knew she was going to be a power hitter, but I wanted to take in Vision Age of Ultron at this fight because of the fact that I knew if I could push Civil Warrior to his L2, I would be able to take advantage of the power drain and keep him from being able to proc that L1 ever again. The problem is, pushing Civil Warrior, as you can see up to this point, the problem is very much so pushing Civil Warrior away from that L1 and into the L2, and it definitely takes some time. But with the more armor ups that Civil Warrior has, your offensive ability accuracy drops. You can see with the L2 that we just tried to hit a second ago, we couldn't get a power drain off of it because of the fact that he had 4 armor ups at the time. So the more armor ups he has, the more possibility that your offensive ability accuracy is just not going to proc. And again, an L2 there, no offensive ability proc there. So we're just trying to push him to the L2, which we are going to get right here. So thankfully we did manage to get him to the L2, which is going to help us out in the long run and finishing this fight completely. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. That's going to be it for me doing the commentary. The video is almost over. If you enjoyed the video, remember to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider leaving a sub on it. And if you do, hit that bell notification button down at the bottom so you get notifications every single time that I post videos. Also follow me on Twitter. That's another key place to get notifications every single time I post videos. But that's going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next episode. Later.